All right, welcome to this explainer for surgical assistants. We're about to dive into one of the most intense and critical topics you'll ever face in medicine: triage and disaster management. So let's just jump right in with a scenario. Imagine this. The call comes over the radio. A mass casualty incident, or MCI, has been declared. You have 50, that's 50 casualties headed your way. In that moment, what is the single biggest, most catastrophic mistake your hospital can make?
The answer to that question, well, it has nothing to do with a specific surgical technique or a fancy piece of gear. It's all about a fundamental change in your thinking. Responding to an MCI demands a complete paradigm shift from the way we do things every single day.
And this right here, this slide just lays it all out. See, on a normal day in routine trauma care, we do everything possible for a single patient. We throw every resource at them. But in an MCI, that mindset is a recipe for disaster. The goal completely flips. It's no longer about doing the most for one patient. It's about doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people. It's a tough but absolutely necessary switch because your resources are, by definition, completely overwhelmed.
Here's a classic trap you have to watch out for. The first wave of patients to hit your door are usually the walking wounded. The ones who are stable enough to get to the hospital by themselves. If you and your team get bogged down treating this first, less critical group, you're going to burn through your staff, your supplies, and your energy before the ambulances carrying the truly critical patients even start to show up.
So, how do you avoid that? How do you make these impossible-sounding decisions in a way that's organized and effective? Well, the answer is a systematic process that is the absolute cornerstone of any disaster response. It's called triage.
At its heart, that's all triage is. It's a sorting tool. It is the disciplined process of cutting through all the noise and chaos to find the patients who will die without immediate intervention and separating them from the much larger group of patients whose care can wait.
And this is a really great way to think about the mental gymnastics involved. A good triage officer is constantly, and I mean constantly, juggling these three things: the situation itself, which is always changing, the number and type of casualties coming in, and the resources you have available to treat them. It's all in flux all the time, and your decisions have to keep up.
Now, because this is such a high-pressure, imperfect process, mistakes are going to happen. It's just a fact. But understanding the two major types of triage errors, that's the first step toward building a system that can actually handle them. So let's break them down.
And this is the really tough part. Both of these errors are incredibly dangerous. With under-triage, you tag a critically injured patient as delayed, and they could die in the waiting area. With over-triage, you rush a patient with less severe injuries into a trauma bay, which wastes precious time and resources that should have gone to someone else who is actually dying. It is a constant balancing act where a mistake in either direction can be fatal.
Okay, so triage helps you sort the patients. That's a huge piece of the puzzle. But what about the hospital itself? How do you organize hundreds of people to handle this massive influx? Your normal hospital management structure would just collapse under the pressure. You need something built for this.
And that something is a standardized framework called the Hospital Incident Command System, or HICS for short. And let's be clear, this isn't just a helpful suggestion, it's the national standard for disaster response. What it does is provide a very clear, top-down command structure that temporarily replaces the hospital's usual way of doing things, all to manage the chaos.
So the whole system is built around these 5 core jobs. You've got incident command at the top, making the big calls. But look at the other branches. Operations, that's where you live. That's all the direct medical care. Then you have planning, who are your information gatherers, and logistics, who get you the supplies you need. And yeah, even finance is there. You have to know this structure, because if you want to be effective, you've got to know where you fit and who you report to.
So let's bring this all back home. With this new mindset and this new command structure in place, what is your specific role as a surgical assistant when a disaster hits? What are your top priorities on the ground?
This slide lays it out perfectly. Number 1, know your assigned role in HICS. This is not the time to freelance. Number 2, communicate, communicate, communicate. Stick to the 4 C's: communication, coordination, cooperation, and collaboration. Number 3, keep your head on a swivel. Always be aware of the bigger picture. And number 4, trust the system. It's designed to work under pressure.
And listen, this right here is a massively important practical takeaway. Remember we talked about the danger of under-triage? Well, this is how you fight it. Triage is not a one-and-done decision. It's a continuous process.
It is part of your job, and everyone's job, to constantly reassess those patients tagged as delayed or non-urgent, because people can and do get sicker. We have to be there to catch.
So let's end on this really powerful idea. Nobody expects perfection in the middle of a mass casualty incident. It's impossible. The real goal is to build a resilient, error-tolerant system. By understanding these principles, you become a vital part of that system. You're the fail-safe. So the only question left is, are you ready?